How is it going, everyone? And welcome back to another review for My Hero Academia. I will be talking about and discussing chapter 176, which was entitled Deku versus the Gentle Criminal. I have been looking forward to this chapter all week, guys, with 175 ending in that cliffhanger and just teasing us with the altercation that's about to take place between Deku going up against and trying to stop Gentle and La Brava from infiltrating UA. But the week-long wait is over, and this week's chapter was very good and very enjoyable. There are many aspects of this chapter and of this fight that I really did enjoy. But one aspect that I wasn't expecting was for Horikoshi to kind of just throw in flashbacks that really go to emphasize all the setup we have had leading up to the festival for the past 5 to 6 chapters. These flashbacks mainly focus in on Eri, Jiro, and Ashido, but this really goes to emphasize why Deku is fighting in this situation. He's not only just fighting for himself, he's fighting for everybody at UA. That way the Culture Festival can go off without a hitch. So he really does need to stop Gentle and La Brava in this situation, and I really do like that that was thrown in the middle of this chapter. But other aspects of this fight and of this chapter that I really did enjoy was getting to see Deku finally utilize his long-range base attacks with the new support gear, him just firing off the finger flicks. I loved getting to see that in this chapter, but by far, the most surprising aspect of this chapter was finally getting the reveal of Gentle's quirk dealing with rubber, elasticity. I really want to learn more about his quirk, his limitations, and what else he can do with his quirk elasticity. But besides the fight that we got in this week's latest chapter, we also had a color page to go along with chapter 176, but My Hero Academia was also on the cover of Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Deku behind the microphone, Ochako on the guitar, and our angry boy Bakugo just pounding away on the drum sets. I really do like this overall aesthetic for this week's cover, and it's nice to see that Horikoshi kind of took the theme of this current arc, being the Culture Festival, and incorporating that musical aspect into the cover of Weekly Shonen Jump. But when we move away from the cover and go to the color page, this color page is really well done and is amazing to me. I like the colors used in it, just the design of this color page, but I also like that we finally get confirmation on the color scheme of Gentle and La Brava. And the shocking thing about this is that all the people that have been doing fan art of La Brava have kind of gotten down her color scheme even before this official reveal. So bravo to you guys. Probably the most shocking aspect of this color page is just coming to learn that Gentle in fact has white hair. But when we move over to Deku, I really do like the looks of his gauntlets. I like the color scheme, just the way that they look, and just having drive them back, just emphasizing the fight we are about to get in this week's latest chapter. This was a great color page to accompany the fight that we got in this week's latest chapter. So now with those two color pages out of the way, let's talk about and discuss this overall chapter, because we open up with Deku getting ready to confront Gentle and La Brava. But Gentle and La Brava are also getting ready for this confrontation as well. La Brava's getting the camera ready, Gentle's getting ready to rip off his trench coat and ham it up for the camera. But what's interesting to note is that La Brava recognizes Deku. She can't pinpoint where she knows him from, but she's seen him somewhere and she just can't pinpoint exactly when. But this comes up later on in the chapter when she finally remembers. But what I also like about this first page of the chapter is that Deku is surveying the area, making sure that there's no civilians in sight, because with no civilians in sight, he can go all out against this confrontation going up against Gentle. So then at this point, Gentle begins to ham it up for the camera. His inner YouTuber bubbles to the surface, and he is a true showman through and through, talking directly to his camera, to his listeners, and he begins to say this. It begins now, the romance of the Wonder Man. Watch carefully as I, the gentle criminal, attempt to enter UA. And he strikes a pose in front of the camera. La Brava's like behind the camera fangirling like, oh my god, Gentle, you're amazing. I really do like these two new villains we have in this arc, but I cannot say the same thing for Deku, because he's looking at this situation transpiring before him and he is shocked. He's like, is this man really doing this in front of the camera? Is he being so direct to just blurt out his entire plan right in front of me? Deku doesn't know what to make of this situation, but the best thing he can do right now is basically lunge in for an attack on Gentle. And he basically tells him, he's like I'd let you get away with breaking into UA. And it almost looks as if Deku is about to make contact with Gentle. But
NANI?
we see Gentle stop Deku with his quirk dead in his tracks and proceeds to launch him backwards. We come to learn that Gentle's quirk is elasticity. He can bestow elasticity to anything that he touches. This is a very interesting quirk, but as it is shown in this week's latest chapter, it is also very, very powerful, and not the first quirk we have seen being able to change the composition of the air. I go back to the sports festival with Subaraba with his solid air quirk, but that's the only correlation I can make within this section with Gentle changing the air into rubber. But as we see later on in this chapter, Gentle can also change the composition of the ground into rubber as well, which kind of makes me ask the question, what are the limitations to Gentle's quirk? We've seen him change the air, the ground, anything basically that he touches, he can change into rubber, which kind of makes me ask the question, if he touched a person, would that person change into rubber? So I am hoping that as we go through the story with Gentle, Horikoshi kind of shows us the limitations of Gentle's quirk. But if you go back to chapter 170, when we got our introduction to Gentle, when he was leaving that convenience store and the panel of him leaving looked all distorted, now with the knowledge that we have of his quirk being elasticity, he most likely changed the composition of that convenience store, made the walls, the ceilings, everything of that convenience store rubber, and basically turned it into a bouncy castle. So all of the heroes that were trying to stop Gentle basically started bouncing around and got subdued thanks to Gentle's quirk. So that is very cool that Horikoshi kind of gave us that hint 6 chapters back, and now we have the clarification on what his quirk actually is. But as we move forward, I like how Gentle and La Brava proceed to use the quirk to make their escape, because we see Gentle turn the ground into a trampoline-like substance, with Gentle and La Brava bouncing their way to freedom, and as they begin to fall, Gentle proceeds to turn the air into rubber, and they just continue to bounce and bounce through the air. Very cool. So as Gentle and La Brava are flying through the air, La Brava ends up remembering where she saw Deku before, and she tells Gentle, that's Izuku Midoriya. Remember that guy during the sports festival that continued to break his hands, to destroy his hands? That's him. Gentle, realizing this, is like, wait a minute, that madman? We gotta get out of here as soon as possible. So I really do like this moment because it's a good callback to the sports festival, but it makes a lot of sense that because the sports festival is bigger than the Olympics, it's such a big event, Gentle and La Brava would have most likely watched that event. But this section just kind of makes me reminisce about Deku during the sports festival. We all can remember Deku during the sports festival. So then we cut over to Deku falling through the sky, and this is the moment where he's starting to have flashbacks and remembering about all the people that he technically is fighting for in this situation. And I really do like that this section really does go to emphasize that Deku is fighting for everyone that will be in attendance at the festival. And the 3 main points and the 3 main people that we get flashbacks for that end up driving Deku forward are Eri, Jiro, and Ashido. We come to see little Eri with a faint smile on her face telling Deku how much she is looking forward to the upcoming festival. And this is the first person on Deku's mind who he is fighting for, to make sure that Eri has a fantastic time at the festival and it does not get interrupted. And as we make our way through the flashbacks, the next person on Deku's mind is Jiro. He wants to make sure that all the effort that Jiro has put into making those musical notebooks, to make sure that every member of the band does their best at the festival, he wants to make sure that Jiro does not get interrupted at the festival as well, to make sure that she can also have a good time. So Jiro is person number 2 on Deku's mind, making sure that they also have a good time at the festival. And last but certainly not least, all of the drilling and from the dance instructions that Ashido has given Deku is actually helping him in this situation, to make him calm his mind, to have him focus, that way his long range attacks end up hitting Gentle. And with all of that in mind, with Eri, with Jiro, with Ashido, and then with the support tech that Hatsume Mei ended up providing him, we see Deku charging up One for All, full cowl, getting ready to launch his long-range attacks. He launches it, a Delaware Smash, Air Force long-range attack, ends up being successful and hits Gentle right in the back. As we make our way to the ending of this chapter, we see Deku launching himself at Gentle. He grabs a hold of him and basically tells him that he too is also fighting for other people. He will not allow him to infiltrate UA. They both collide into a building, and while all this is happening, we see La Brava staring on at all of this with tears in her eyes, worried about Gentle, and that is where we are left off with the cliffhanger for chapter 176. Now, it kind of has me wondering if La Brava, just with the fact that she loves Gentle so much, is she going to intervene in this fight in any way, shape, or form? Is she going to stop Deku from fighting against Gentle? And will we get the reveal of La Brava's quirk? Because we got the reveal this chapter of Gentle's quirk. What is La Brava's quirk? What can she do? So I'm very excited to see where the fight is going to go. The fight is not done yet, guys. Who is going to come out on top? Is it going to be Deku, or is it going to be Gentle or La Brava? So I am very excited to see where the next chapter, 177, is going to go. But anyway, guys, that is going to be the ending of my review for 176. I definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts, theories, and speculations on what we can get next chapter in 177. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below, guys. And if you guys want to talk about My Hero Academia outside of YouTube, feel free to follow me on Twitter. A link to my Twitter can be found in the description below. But I'm just excited, guys, for 177, for the continuation of this fight. But that will be next week. So until then, guys, I'll talk with you guys then. And remember, Plus Ultra.